Her body was pressed against mine in the hotel room. Her lips were hungry, her hands trembling as she whispered, "Not here," while her husband lay sleeping in bed beside us. I could feel her pulse against my chest, the pattern of her breathing, the risk of every second. I had touched her, my boss's wife, and I could not stop. Every kiss, every caress, every moan felt more real than any moment in my life before. And in that moment, I knew nothing would ever be the same. Before I go any further, I want to thank you all for watching, listening, and supporting. Whether you are new here or a loyal subscriber, your presence keeps this channel alive. If you have not subscribed yet, I cannot wait for you to hit that button. It fuels the stories and the truth I share. Please leave a comment now, tell me how you would react in my shoes. My name is Claire Bennett. I am 32, born and raised in Denver, Colorado, currently working as a marketing associate in a mid-sized firm just outside Boulder. I wear blue jeans and sensible flats to the office. I say yes to everything except confrontation. That was me, until her. Evelyn Harris, mid-30s, elegant, demanding, and married to my boss, Mark Harris. She entered the office with a reputation, effortless style, icy little nods, a perfect wife who socialized and smiled and never showed emotion. I saw her once, across the boardroom, and something inside me unclenched. That week, Evelyn needed help organizing an off-site event. She pulled me into late-night planning sessions at her home. She always offered wine. She always thanked me. One night, she stepped closer. Her perfume whispered danger. We were leaning over a notebook when our hands touched. She looked up at me with that slow breath. I saw daring, and something more, loneliness. When her husband left town, she asked me to stay late. She offered me a ride. We ended up at the Riverbend Hotel. She said she needed a quiet space. When I walked her upstairs, she held my hand. When we entered the room, she closed the door. The rest happened too fast to stop. We collapsed onto the king-size bed. She kissed me soft, then deep. I tasted red wine and sweat. I kissed her neck, her breasts, tasted her skin. She caught my hand, pressed it between her thighs. I closed my eyes and let her lead me. In the bathroom mirror later, we both saw what we had done. Her blouse was unbuttoned. Her lipstick smeared. Our bodies tangled in lotion and wine. I saw her wedding ring twisted on her finger, but she did not remove it. We stared at our reflections, breathless. I helped her redress. We left the bed like we had left ourselves behind. We left the room without words, without reneging. We left the line we had crossed stained forever. The next morning, we returned to our lives. I walked into the office pretending nothing changed. She smiled at me across the table, her eyes secretive. It felt electric. Dangerous. But I felt guilty. I felt like a thief who had stolen something priceless. And that guilt would be the first chain to bind me. After that first night, nothing was ever the same. My body still burned with the memory of her lips on my skin, her nails clawing gently down my back, and the rawness in her voice when she moaned my name. I tried to bury it, to convince myself it was a mistake. But it kept playing on a loop in my mind like a haunting song I could not unhear. The next morning, I showed up at work pretending everything was normal, even though everything inside me was trembling. I half expected my boss, Daniel, to be waiting at the entrance with my termination letter in one hand and my shame in the other. But he was calm. He smiled like always, sipping his morning coffee and mumbling about quarterly reports. What I did not know was that his wife, Brielle, had already texted me. "You were unforgettable. Come see me again. No one has to know." That text became the start of a secret I would carry like a loaded gun in my pocket, dangerous, heavy, and constantly threatening to go off. I started seeing her in secret. She would call me during office hours pretending to be my friend from college. She used a different name sometimes. I played along, because I could not stop. Every time she touched me, I unraveled all over again. I was addicted to the danger. Addicted to her. The first time she handed me an envelope with cash in it, I stared at it like it had teeth. We had just finished in a hotel downtown. I was still wrapped in the sheets, my legs tangled, my breath slowing from the rush of it all. She got dressed slowly, deliberately, and dropped the envelope on the nightstand like it was a gift. "I want you to have this," she said. I blinked. "What is this for?" She smiled softly. "To keep you comfortable. To keep you quiet." I did not say anything. I did not even touch it until she left. When I opened it, there was $1,500 in crisp bills. The weight of it made me sick, and made me want more. Because that money meant something. It meant she was not leaving him. It meant I was not just a secret, I was a transaction. But I took it. Every week after that, she gave me more money, jewelry, sometimes even clothes. It was hush money wrapped in soft silk and expensive perfume. And every time she touched me, she whispered things I should never have believed. "You are the only one who sees me. The real me." But then why was she still going home to him every night? I started noticing things about Daniel. The way he never checked his phone around her. The way he looked over her shoulder when she laughed, like he was measuring her happiness against something invisible. I began to wonder, did he know? One afternoon, I walked into his office to drop a file. He looked up, his smile faint. "Claire," he said. "You look tired. Everything all right?" I nodded. "Just not sleeping well." He tilted his head. "My wife's the same lately. Keeps tossing and turning." My stomach flipped. He was watching me. Watching her. Later that week, I tried to break it off. I met her behind a yoga studio where no one would see us. I told her it had to end. That I could not live like this, being her dirty secret, being paid off like some mistake. She did not argue. She just reached into her bag and handed me another envelope. Fatter this time. "I am not asking you to be happy," she whispered. "I am asking you to be mine." And like a fool, I let her kiss me again. I let her press me against the wall. I let her steal my breath like it belonged to her. But the guilt was starting to poison me. My coworkers started asking questions. One of them joked that the boss's wife liked me more than her own husband did. I laughed it off, but inside I was crumbling. Then came the night everything began to fall apart. It was Daniel's birthday. A company party at their house. Everyone was invited. I knew I should not go, but I did. I wore the red dress she bought me. I told myself it was just for show, but deep down, I wanted her to see me in it, in front of him. I caught her watching me from across the room. Her eyes dark, glass of wine in hand, lips parted like she had already imagined undressing me again. Then Daniel raised his glass to make a toast. He pulled her close. Kissed her cheek. "To my beautiful wife. And to the love she gives me every single day." Everyone clapped. I felt like I had been punched in the chest. I excused myself and went upstairs. I needed to breathe. I needed to leave. But she followed me. Locked the door behind her. She pushed me onto the bed they shared and kissed me like nothing mattered, like we were not in her house, at her husband's party. She whispered, "This is the only place I feel alive." I whispered back, "Then why do you keep going back to him?" She did not answer. She just unzipped my dress. And I let her. That night in their bedroom broke something in me. Something permanent. When I stood up from the bed, still smelling like her, I looked around the room, the expensive linens, the wedding photos, the drawer where she kept her lingerie. And I hated myself. I hated what I had become. A ghost in their home. A secret between their sheets. A thief stealing what was never mine to begin with. I told myself that would be the last time. That I would never walk into that house again, never open another envelope with her perfume soaked into the flap. I lied to myself in the mirror the same way she lied to her husband. Because the truth was, I was already too deep. She was not just an affair. She was the addiction I could not shake. The following Monday, Daniel called me into his office. The door closed slowly behind me, and for the first time ever, he did not smile. "I need to ask you something, Claire," he said. My heart jumped. My palms went cold. I stayed silent. "Do you know if Betrayal has been acting strange lately?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" He leaned back in his chair. "Phone calls. Disappearing in the afternoons. She is always dressed up now, wearing perfume she never used to wear. She is hiding something. I can feel it." I swallowed the knot in my throat and forced my voice to stay even. "Maybe she just wants to feel young again." He narrowed his eyes. "I think she is cheating on me." That sentence echoed in my chest like a bullet shot in a quiet church. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to come clean. I wanted to say, yes. She is cheating. With me. In your house. In your bed. But I stayed quiet. I just nodded and told him I hoped he was wrong. Later that day, I met her again. She brought me to an Airbnb across town. A place with no memories, no wedding photos, no sign of him. Just her and me. And another envelope. I held it in my hands and looked her in the eye. "He knows something," I said. "He is suspicious." She smirked. "He has always been paranoid." "This is not paranoia," I said. He asked me directly. "He is watching you." She shrugged. "Let him. He never really sees me anyway." I looked down at the cash. It was even more than last time. "I cannot do this anymore," I whispered. She moved closer. Touched my face. "You say that every time. And yet, here you are." And she was right. I hated her for it. But I hated myself more. I stopped sleeping. I stopped going out. My friends noticed, coworkers whispered. I was disappearing, piece by piece, under the weight of a secret I was paid to keep. Then came the explosion. Daniel showed up at my apartment one night. I opened the door in shock. He looked like a man who had not slept in days. His eyes were red, his voice low. "She told me." I stood frozen. "What?" She confessed. "Everything. You. The hotel rooms. The money. All of it." I felt my knees weaken. "I trusted you," he said. "You were like family." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My silence said it all. He walked away without another word. The next day, I was fired. The company called it restructuring. Everyone knew better. She did not text me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence. 2 weeks of drowning in shame. Then she showed up at my door. "I had no choice," she said. He found the bank transfers. The hotel receipts. I stared at her. "So you threw me under the bus?" "I saved us both," she said. I told him it was a mistake. A phase. That I seduced you. That you did not mean anything. I laughed bitterly. "Is that all I ever was?" She stepped forward. "You were everything. You still are." And just like that, she kissed me again. And just like every time before, I let her. But something inside me had shifted. I pulled away. "You destroyed everything," I said. "And you are still hiding." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you." "No," I said. "You love the lie." I handed her back the last envelope. The one I never opened. The one that still smelled like her. "This is the last payment you ever make." She left. I never saw her again. But the secret stayed. It sat inside me like a scar, deep, silent, and unforgettable. And every time I smell her perfume in a store or see a couple pretending to be in love, I remember what it cost me to keep quiet. Because I slept with my boss's wife, and she paid me to disappear. And I did.